Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking about Jaimé Reyes' Blue Beetle, Book 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're doing a review of Jaimé Reyes' Book 1, Blue Beetle. So yes, Blue Beetle is almost upon us. Yes, I've already reviewed all of the other series. Quick backstory, I read this, I recorded a review, it got deleted somehow, I never uploaded it, and so I didn't want the Blue Beetle playlist to have, one of the best Blue Beetle trade paperbacks out there without a review, so we're doing a quick one right now. So, Blue Beetle, Jaimé Reyes, who is he? Because I remember doing this in the original review and we're going to do it again. He is a new character. He was introduced in the page of Infinite Crisis. In fact, issue number 7 in this book, which contains Blue Beetle 1 through 12, actually goes through the events of Infinite Crisis from Blue Beetle's perspective and what happened to him for the short amount of time he was in it. So if you want to read Infinite Crisis, pick up that book. He shows up quickly in issue number 3, and then as a full Blue Beetle in, I believe it's number 5. But yeah, he had his own cover drawn by Jim Lee at the time. And at the time of the solicits, they were showing these covers, and it was like, who's that on the cover? And he was all blacked out. It was like a mystery character, and it wasn't until the actual cover came that you saw the design of the new Blue Beetle. So him being a Hispanic teenager and all that stuff was all introduced in the pages of Infinite Crisis. And then he quickly disappeared, only for his solo book to launch a little bit later. So I'm trying to find the damn issue. I thought it was number 5. Anyway, so the way Infinite Crisis was going on, as I'm paging through here, I can just tell you about it. They had a couple of issues come out. Here we go. And then they flashed forward in the comic books to 1 year later, right? Here we go. Here's the cover drawn by Jim Lee. So yeah, that figure was blacked out when we first saw him until you got to the issue and you're like, wait, who's a blue guy? So anyway, I think it was after this issue or the one after that, Infinite Crisis number 5, that all the comic books jumped into 1 year later. And this was one of the new number 1s coming out of 1 year later, Jaimé Reyes, Blue Beetle. And it was just Blue Beetle. It didn't say Jaimé Reyes, but that's just how we're differentiating that because Ted Kord, who had died in Countdown to Infinite Crisis, who's mentioned here, was dead at the time, so that he was the only one. And now we're in some weird new continuity where he did die, never died, I don't know, but he's still around. So that's why I'm saying Jaimé Reyes a lot. And to differentiate who we're talking about. So the first 12 issues are written by Keith Giffen and John Rogers and drawn by Cully Hamner and Duncan Rouleau. And it's just a phenomenal book. I fell in love with this book all over again, reading it for the second or third time. Like, I read these issues as they came out. I had them all 36 issues of his entire run. I sold them when I bought my first house just because downsizing, and who the hell knew that they were going to make a movie out of it. So is it worth anything today? Probably not. I don't think the movie's going to do very well financially, but I'm going to go see it and be excited to see Jaimé on the big screen. I'm most excited about this character of Jaimé because he's the newest character that's gotten a big push. He had the series. The series lasted for 3 years. He showed up next. He was on the first guest star on Batman Brave and the Bold with that new animated series years ago after his series had ended. He showed up in Young Justice Season 2, the Invasion storyline. He's been in like the Teen Titans books after this. So he keeps getting new instances. He's in the Injustice 2 game, which I love. He was one of my favorite characters in that fighting game. So he keeps getting new pushes. He's getting a movie. So he's clearly important to DC. And I want to support new characters. And I am enamored with this character and this concept. I remember being in high school and just like reading comic books and just thinking like, what would I want as my superpower? And I was really enamored with the Azrael Asbat suit and also like this kind of nanotechnology. And I was like, if I was a high school superhero, what would I be? I would probably look like Azrael with my hair sticking out at the top, with the mask, the second mask he had, and some sort of like techno suit that could fit underneath my clothes and would come out at a moment's notice, and I'd be ready for battle something happened. This is right after Columbine when I was in high school. So shit was a little, it's the first time stuff happened. People got weird. Anyway, and that's exactly what Blue Beetle has. Maybe that's why I love this character so much. He's got this beetle, this scarab embedded in his spine, and he can just summon the armor at a moment's notice, and it becomes anything he wants. And he's got, the power of flight and electricity and these blasts, and, the thing is doing analysis for him. It can alter his strength. It's just all around an awesome concept. And the fact that Jaimé Reyes doesn't really want to be a Blue Beetle, like they mentioned in this volume and this book too also, that he kind of wanted to be a dentist and not really a superhero, is just kind of hilarious. At the same time, you have Peacemaker. That's this guy right here. Yes, he's not in this helmet. He's got weird tattoos in this version. And he has basically the databanks of the scarab in his brain, and he is trying to teach Blue Beetle what's in his head while also like making sure this kid's not a threat to himself or others, or the USA and things like that. The other thing that was interesting too is this is taking place in El Paso, Texas, and his parents are immigrants, so you have that whole angle going on here. And even though it was written by John Rogers and Keith Giffen, who aren't Mexicans, I felt like at the time, and even rereading it recently, they kind of had a handle on it. Like they had some ideas. They have their own view of it, and I didn't really feel like they did anybody a disservice when they were doing it here. You introduce Paco and Brenda, his two best friends, who eventually find out he's Blue Beetle. Brenda's got a crazy aunt who's actually a supervillain. So we will see how much of that comes through on, they go to Apocalypse or something, New Genesis, and fight some bad guys here. But yeah, this book is just a whole lot of fun. The first 6 issues are kind of one story, and then you have the 7th one about the Infinite Crisis storyline, and then every one after that is like a little bit here and there, a little bit here and there. So they kind of go into more like onesie-twosies or one-and-done storylines to fill out the last 6 issues of this 12-issue collection. So it's a whole lot of fun. I guarantee it. If you pick up this book, you will fall in love with Jaimé Reyes and Blue Beetle and this concept. I fell in love with this concept years ago, and rereading this for the 3rd time, I think because I reread all the issues after they came out. I think I have them on my iPad, and then when they said we're doing collections before the movie, I was like, hell yes, I'm gonna buy that and put them on my shelf, because this run is awesome. This is still my all-time favorite Blue Beetle run, the original one, the 1 year later with John Rogers and Cully Hamner and Keith Giffen. Also of note, this actually starts to introduce Rafael Albuquerque in the last 2 issues here, and he starts as like the main Blue Beetle artist with number 12 after doing a couple pages on number 11. And Rafael Albuquerque goes on to do American Vampire and stuff with Scott Snyder on Batman. He does some fill-ins back there, but American Vampire is kind of his bigger thing more recently. So he draws an awesome Blue Beetle, and you can read more of his stuff in the Jaimé Reyes book 2, which I've already reviewed here on the channel. You can go check that out. So yeah, Blue Beetle, awesome character. I don't know if the movie's going to be any good or if it'll do well financially, but I will tell you, I will wholeheartedly give 2 thumbs up to this 1st and 2nd collection of Jaimé Reyes Blue Beetle. Book 1 and 2 get 2 thumbs up from me. So go check them out and let me know down below what you thought of those books, and we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.